The head of Hungary, a very tough, strong guy, Victor Orban. Did anybody ever hear of him? Probably, considered very powerful within his country and outside of his country. Not exactly loved by some of the European nations because he does his thing. He didn't allow millions of people to invade his country. He allowed nobody to invade. Zero. He had nobody. So he doesn't have crime, and he doesn't have the problems that they're having in other countries where millions of people are allowed to go in. But they were interviewing him 2 weeks ago, and they said, what would you advise President Obama? The whole world seems to be exploding and imploding. And he said, it's very simple. He should immediately resign, and they should replace him with President Trump, who kept the world safe. And I'm not just talking the United States. China respected him. Russia respected him. North Korea respected him, and he used another word other than respect, he said fear, but I don't want to use that word.
That was Donald Trump gushing over Hungary's authoritarian leader, Victor Orban, and also thinking that President Obama is still the president. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. In Donald Trump's speech in New Hampshire on Veterans Day, we saw the cognitive decline as well as the very dangerous, unhinged statements. I want to show you what Donald Trump was saying in New Hampshire. Then I want to compare it to President Biden's Veterans Day speech. All right, here's what Donald Trump also said. He said that President Xi is so powerful, you can't even cast anyone in Hollywood who's so powerful. Play the clip.
Imagine President Xi is like central casting. There's nobody in Hollywood that can play the role of President Xi. The look, the strength, the voice. We will begin immediately negotiation. And I say, loosen up. I say, loosen up. I had a great relationship with him until COVID. Then I said, that's the end of that. But I did. It's good to have a good relationship with Putin and Xi and all these people. They have lots of nuclear weapons. And Kim Jong-un I had a good relationship with. He's a tough, smart guy. You know, when I call these people smart, the press always says, he said he was smart. I'm supposed to say they're not intelligent people. President Xi in China controls 1.4 billion people with an iron hand, no drug problems. You know why they have no drug problems? Death penalty for the drug dealers.
Next up, Donald Trump tries to brag how brave he is for taking an airplane flight. Play the clip.
How long will it take you to knock out ISIS? I went there. I actually flew there. Extreme bravery when I did that because I had to fly in Air Force One. We had to darken our windows. They said, sir, we're flying over enemy territory. Think of it, we're there for 21 years with the best equipment in the world, and we still have to darken our windows to fly in. But I figured, let's do it. And they turned off all the lights inside and outside of the plane.
Here, Donald Trump attacks America's military leaders on Veterans Day. Play the clip.
You know General Mattis, General Milley, real beauties. General Milley's the one that decided to take the soldiers out first, okay? General Milley is the one that said, let's leave $85 billion worth of equipment behind because it's cheaper than taking it out. It's cheaper than putting a tank of nice, clean fuel in the airplane and flying it to Pakistan or flying it all the way home. It's cheaper to leave it there. We left them brand new planes, brand new helicopters.
Next up, Donald Trump says that President Obama catching Osama bin Laden, not a big deal. And what Trump says that he did was far much more of a bigger deal. Play this clip.
And that was Soleimani that did that. The king, the father of the roadside bomb. The biggest terrorist in the world, nobody close. I mean, Osama bin Laden wasn't even in that league.
Here, Donald Trump lies and claims that 3 years ago, America had the greatest economy ever and seems to ignore the fact that Americans couldn't even get toilet paper while he was telling us to inject bleach. Play this clip.
Think of it. Go back 3 years. We didn't have any of these problems, and we had the greatest economy in our history. I completely obliterated the ISIS territorial caliphate.
Let's just be clear. The United States economy lost 9.4 million jobs in 2020 under Donald Trump. The unemployment rate was at 6.7% at the end of December. The United States economy contracted 3.5% in 2020, the worst contraction since World War II, and Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans added about $8 trillion to America's debt. Next up here, Donald Trump tells the crowd of supporters that he's been indicted in his civil fraud trial in New York. Play the clip.
He says, how can it happen? They got me in New York, where my company turned out to be a great company instead of a bad company. They indicted me because they said I inflated numbers, and my numbers, it turned out, were extremely conservative, just the opposite of what. And now they don't know what to do. And the judge is being made to look, he's a radical left person, and he actually accused me of something before the trial started, and now it's sort of coming home to play. We'll see what happens, but it's a disgrace.
Here, Donald Trump mocks Ron DeSantis and says that he doesn't wear lifts, unlike DeSantis, who does wear lifts. Play the clip.
And I'm not wearing lifts either, by the way. I don't have 6-inch heels. Actually, the greatest moment of the debate when Ron DeSanctimonious was walking off the stage, and his feet, it's weird, because there's cowboy boots. So they have a high heel outside, but inside you got a big deal going on. And he's walking like... No, he's walking off the stage like he's trying to balance himself. I thought he was wearing ice skates. No. What difference does that make, right? What difference, when you think about it, what difference does it make?
Next up, Donald Trump brags that he is a proud election denier. Play this clip.
Like tens of millions of people within our nation, I'm proud and strong. I'm a very proud election denier.
I mean, by the way, could you ever imagine that you'd be in a situation in the United States of America where the leader of the Republican Party is giving a speech on Veterans Day saying that he is a proud election denier? I mean, how horrific is that? Next up, here Donald Trump attacks special counsel Jack Smith and now adds Jack Smith's wife and family into the threats. Play the clip.
Deranged Jack Smith. Have you ever heard of him? He's a lovely man. Do you ever see him with the purple little thing? He's a lovely man. The Trump-hating prosecutor in the case, his wife and family despise me much more than he does, and he decides, I think he's about a 10. They're about a 15 on a scale of 10. And he was involved, Jack Smith, the deranged one, I call him.
Here, Donald Trump basically just says a bunch of gibberish and saying if people from 20 years ago came back, they'd be shocked about what I'm doing. I don't even know what he's even talking about here. Play this clip.
There's people from 20 years ago, if they came back 30 years ago, probably 10 years ago, if they came back and heard some of the things that I'm saying we're going to do, they're going to say, that place has really gone bad.
And here, Donald Trump attacks Nancy Pelosi and Nancy Pelosi's husband and tries to say that there was no terrorism when he was in office. He says that the only terrorism came from Nancy Pelosi, and then he mocks the attempted murder on Nancy Pelosi's husband. Play the clip.
We had no terror during my administration. The only terror we had was Nancy Pelosi, who's a crazed lunatic. She's a lunatic. She is a crazed lunatic. What the hell was going on with her husband? Let's not ask. Let's not ask. I'll withdraw that statement. By the way, she's got a wall around her house. Obviously, in that case, it didn't work very well, did it? It didn't work.
And you don't get more unhinged than that, folks, or maybe you do. Here's what Donald Trump posted on Veterans Day. Donald Trump wrote, "In honor of our great veterans on Veterans Day, we pledge to you that we will root out the communist, Marxist, fascist, and radical left thugs that live like vermin within the confines of our country, lie, steal, and cheat on elections, and will do anything possible, whether legally or illegally, to destroy America and the American dream. The threat from outside forces is far less sinister, dangerous, and grave than the threat from within, despite the hatred and anger of the radical left lunatics who want to destroy our country. We will make America great again." I mean, how unhinged is this that that's what he's writing on Veterans Day? Also, he's basically like just verbatim taking the Hitler playbook at this point in time, in the sense of this is the type of language that Hitler used, calling people vermin, to otherize them, and then to basically say that the threats from within are greater than the threats outside. Here, Don Jr. reposts this New York Times headline that says, "Sweeping raids, giant camps, and mass deportations inside Trump's 2025 immigration plans." And Don Jr. says, "They say it like it's a bad thing." Just compare that to President Biden's Veterans Day message. Here's what President Biden says: "Today we honor the story of our veterans, the story of our nation at its best on Veterans Day. Let's recommit to fulfilling our one sacred obligation as a nation, to prepare those we send into harm's way and care for them and their families when they come home." And this is President Biden's remarks to honor Veterans Day at Arlington National Cemetery. Play the clip.
"Sacrifice of many of you sitting in front of me and behind me, and those who served, have kept our country free and our democracy strong. As that young soldier wrote more than a century ago after World War I ended, if you only could see, lanterns shine in every window and door. Today, we not only see that light of liberty, we live by it. And just like our forebears, it's on all of us together, to ask ourselves, what can we do? What must we do to keep that light burning? To keep it shining in every window and door for generations to come? I know we can. I know we will. Because as our veterans know best, we are the United States of America. And there's nothing beyond our capacity. Nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. God bless you all. God bless our veterans, and may God protect our troops today and always. Thank you, and thank you for your service.
Finally, I want to play you this last clip right here. This is the new commercial that Biden has been airing, and this is the one that he aired on Veterans Day. It's pretty powerful. Play the clip.
Joining the Army was a childhood dream because my dad served. I enlisted when I was 17 years of age. I served 7 years active duty, and I was exposed to toxic burn pits in Iraq. I always have health problems because of it. When I got home, I couldn't get the health care I needed. It was a difficult road, not only for me, but for my family, for my wife.
Having to watch the father of my children plagued with these horrible diseases has been heart-wrenching. So many people turned their backs on us, the government and Congress.
That changed when Joe Biden was elected. He's a military father. He saw us, and he got something done for us.
President Biden signed legislation yesterday expanding medical care for veterans exposed to toxic burn pits.
The PACT Act, the most significant expansion of veterans' health care and benefits in more than 30 years, is now law.
President Biden, he kept his word to veterans. I'm proud of my service, and I'm proud of my president.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
So, folks, I want to show you that contrast there and let you decide which one you think is presidential, who you think best represents our country and its values, and put in the comments below how you feel about that. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 2 million subscribers. Thanks to your support. Check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch, and have a great day.
At MeidasTouch, we are unapologetically pro-democracy, and we demand justice and accountability. That's why we're spreading our message to Convict 45. That's right, gear up right now with your Convict 45 tees and pins at store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.